Mean. All right. Good morning and welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Reverend G. I'm so delighted to have you here today in the sanctuary, online in the world of Zoom and the YouTube Live. Here we are together on this glorious day. I love your song choices, Chris, today. Like, I have never felt so excited about mistakes before and about failing. It's like I'm looking forward to it, which is a good thing because I can positively and certainly predict that I will be failing in the future and that I will be making mistakes. That is just so. So now I get to look forward to it. Thank you, Chris. We get ministered to in all sorts of ways. How are you today? Yeah, feeling pretty good? All right, let's hope that you will keep feeling pretty good even after my next request. So today, we're going to talk about change. And, there is one thing to talk about it, and then there's another thing to actually experiencing it. Yes? Would you agree with me? Yeah, I think so. So, I want you to repeat after me. So I'll say it first, and then repeat after me. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. Anything I don't want to do. Now feel it. Like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. One more time. I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. Okay. So remember that. Now, here's my request. Please stand up and sit next to someone you did not come with. So sit next to someone you did not come with. Or someone that you usually don't sit next to. All right, so here is experiencing some change, right? And now I want you to just close your eyes for a second and just go within and notice what is happening inside you. Like, notice your thoughts and notice your feelings. Gauge your level of comfort or discomfort. Your level of peacefulness or even mild annoyance. Just notice and really bring into your consciousness the reaction you had to my request. To get up, stand up, and then sit next to someone you did not come with. How is that making you feel? How did it make you feel in the moment? How does it feel now? If you had misgivings, what was the hell of it? Like the fear. What would happen if you have to now get up, sit to someone you don't usually sit with, you don't really know? Did you have excitement or dread? Curiosity Or did you wish you had attended by Zoom, via Zoom today? Or not at all? This would have been a good one to miss. Are you looking forward to what's next? So just notice. So now, I invite you to open your eyes and share with the persons who are sitting next to you. How was your experience? Your level of vulnerability. We have even guests here today, newcomers. For you, I imagine it's a totally different level. It's not only that you walked into a building where you don't know anybody, so that already increases your level of vulnerability, but now you're also separated. And then, now you're invited to immediately share with people you've never met, you don't know their names. So it's putting you on a totally different level, new level. So share. Feel free. This is going to be your favorite interactive, most favorite interactive service. I know after this you'll be begging me, let's do another one like this, G. So share. How is your experience? And just talk among yourselves. So you have about 2 more minutes of sharing. Please make sure that the other person gets to share as well, that you all get to share. You have about 2 more minutes of sharing. So has everyone had a chance to share? Do you need more time? Is there somebody who feels like I really haven't had a chance and I need a little more time? If not, then I invite you back. Now, if this was me, who attended the service like this, and I'd be sitting there and not standing here, right? If this was me, and then the darn minister would ask me to do that. A, because I'm a people pleaser. Even though they gave me permission not to do what I don't want to do, I still would have done it because said people pleaser. And then, but I would have been like, I can't believe I came today of all days. Like, I wish I would have stayed home. I hate this. So then I'd find somebody, and I'd be looking at like, who looks safe in here? Who should I sit next to? Like, who would be most comfortable for me? Then I'd pick somebody. Then somebody else would plop down next to me that I didn't pick, and I'd be like, dang. Then we'd start talking, and then I would start loosening up. And then my curiosity would take over, and I would start really enjoying it. And I'd be like, wow, how cool that I get to know these people that I don't normally talk with. And then I would just notice that my level of comfort now has just increased. Like next time, I know when I come into this building, they'll be like old friends to me, not just the ones that I usually connect with. But that would be my experience, right? And I'm really, really curious about yours. So, our friend Jason here has a mic. He's going to turn it on. Justin, sorry. I got most of it right. Which is, most of it is like the difference between lightning and lightning bug. So, I apologize. So, would you please turn that mic on, and who would like to share?
Well, I was telling these folks, first of all, what you asked us doesn't surprise me, and this is a very welcoming place. I feel comfortable going over and sitting by anyone. After that, I was just looking for an empty chair. I don't care who was next to me.
Good attitude. And remain in your seat because the mic will come to you. So, Ken, did you want to share next? Yes. Yeah, good. Wait for the microphone.
So my name is Ken, and one of the things that came to mind really quickly when we were talking was that when I came to this congregation, I would sit next to somebody that was different from me.
Which is everybody.
Which is well, it's not. There would be some difference. Maybe they would be much older than I am. Or maybe they would be a different color than my skin. And I just made wonderful friends, and I've been here since 2017, according to Miriam. So this is a great place to come. I find it welcoming, and I hope you did too.
So there is somebody who is very comfortable with this. Yes. In fact, so comfortable that they seek it out naturally, even without being prompted. Who would like to share next? Just one at a time. There we go, Janine.
Well, to be honest with you, I come because of the minister. And I do have friends here. And I remember when this was started, and being in my middle 80s now, I can't remember the year that it broke off from People's Church, which I've gone to since 1964. So I have 2 Unitarian Universalist churches that I attend. And I know Nikki and I have known each other for a long time, but I saw Nikki, and we usually there's a group of us go out for lunch afterwards, and when Nikki saw me, she says, "Oh, I thought you were going to People's today," and I says, "Well, I was, but then I read what G was going to talk about." And so I came here. So I really, when this church started, when this congregation started, I should say, I felt really bad because some of my best friends from Peoples left there and came here. But now I have friends in both places, so it's a wonderful experience.
So that was another level of change,
Right.
where there was some kind of upheaval, and then some people split off, and then a new life was created, a new community was created. That was another level of change. I would like you now to reflect on how this particular morning is affecting you. Like, you've been asked to move, and what is your experience? Anybody else would like to share? Nobody. Oh yeah, Therese, you will share. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Therese. Yeah, I think for me, I would prefer to have an hour with each person here because I don't know many people. And so for me, it was like just a little taste, and I want more time and more talking.
Yeah. All right, so we'll have to create an opportunity for that. Yes, would you like to share? Did you want to share? Okay. Mike is coming.
Hi, my name is Terry, and we've been coming here as frequently as we can the past few months since we moved to the area, and have felt very welcomed. And when Reverend G asked us to get up and move, I was worried that I was going to stumble or be a little awkward. And then I looked over at my left, and all the chairs were empty. So I was worried I was going to be alone, and Stephanie came and sat down next to me, and it was very delightful. We don't get an opportunity to talk to her. She has responsibilities, and she's in many places, and it was wonderful to have the chance to get to talk to her and get to know her a little bit. So it was very nice.
So there's another level of vulnerability, right? I can't really get around very well. Will anybody pick me? Or will I be the one sitting alone when this group exercise is going on? So many vulnerabilities. So there's excitement, there's vulnerability, there's some people are looking forward to it, some people just shrink into themselves. So as many reactions and responses as there are people. Would anybody else care to share? Yes, Eric, over there.
I'm a relatively shy and reserved person to begin with, and so my experience here is everybody's been super friendly, but I often sit by myself and just like to observe and say hi and then move on with the with the service. So I did have a little bit of moment of fear, like, okay, well, who am I going to sit to? What conversations am I going to bring up? I feel sometimes a little socially awkward, so it was very nice sitting here with and being able to talk and just have a regular conversation where maybe I wouldn't have thought that out otherwise. So yeah, it was great.
So there are our natural tendencies. Some of us are introverted, some of us are extroverted. The introverted prefer to be left alone and then just observe. They don't really like to speak before everything is very well formed and they know exactly what they want to say, how they want to say it, who they want to say it to. And then there is that level of being forced to act opposite to my natural desire. So I'm being kicked out of my shell of comfort. How is that going to be for me? And then I have found so many times in life that imagination is so much worse than reality. We imagine that, oh, it's going to be awful. Oh, I'll have nothing to talk about. And then you're in it and you realize, oh, I have words. I have thoughts. They sound good. This was better than I expected. How cool. I just get to know another person. Anybody else? Over there, yeah. Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, you gave me permission to not move, and so I took advantage of that.
Good. Why? Tell me why.
Because I'm also generally have a history of being a people pleaser and don't ever take the time to ask myself what it is that I want to do. And having that permission was very powerful for me. And I appreciated it, and I took advantage of it, and still had a lovely conversation with Ken. So,
So there,
even
go on.
in our discomfort, I think sometimes we have to be okay with being uncomfortable and doing what's healthy for us, as opposed to forcing ourselves out into a situation we may be very uncomfortable with. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love it that you brought that up. So you are one who chose not to move. There's no victims here. There's willing participants. There's no victims. So you were given the option to remain in your seat or to move. And then if you chose to remain in your seat, why is it? Is it because you felt empowered? That was really the life-giving option? Has anybody remained in their seat other than you, Judy? Okay, so few people remain in your seat. Would you be willing to share why you did that? Janine? Over there. I need you to speak in the mic so people on Zoom can also
I
appreciate.
remained in my seat because Lisa had moved over, and I wanted to get to know Lisa better.
There's that.
So there, that was the
Okay, you
reason.
didn't have to because the change came to you, but you too, however, change did not come to you, nor did you choose to change. Would you be willing to share why? Nikki?
Well, I had never talked to her before today, so we were strangers sitting here. And then I got annoyed because you said if you came with somebody, sit with somebody you don't know. And you never talked about people who didn't come with somebody.
There's no such thing as over-communication, see?
And so my reaction was, well, I don't know you, I didn't come with you, therefore I can continue to sit here and get to know you like we're doing.
Good, very good choice. See, what I love about this is that we're a bunch of independent thinkers. So, also who are very well grounded in ourselves, which is also what I hate about us when I'm a minister and I try us to go in a direction that we don't all want to go to, because we are independent thinkers. Wonderful, thank you for sharing that. So, anybody else? Okay, Janine again, all right.
Well, I've been thinking for a long time that after my experiences at another UU church here in town for 65 years now, that I really come here, but I don't know Nikki. I know Nikki and Mike, but that's about it, you know. And I've been really thinking I would like to get to know more people here on a more personal level. And we have something that I have had in other congregations where we would get together and go out for dinner once a week at a restaurant, or we could do it at homes. And that is a wonderful way of getting to know people, because you can sit there and talk about items of interest in both sides of the spectrum. And we can also talk about here at UCC. And so I'm going to now start up a group that we will get together weekly and get to know each other, and that way we can be more helpful to each other if we know each other and know what's going on.
Yes, it builds community. So here's the opportunity that just arose from this little exercise. Like, we can do more of this. Some of us would never want to do this. Some of us would want more of this. So Alpha and Omega is present in every community. whether it's a large community or a smaller community. It's all alpha and omega. There are the introverted, there are the extroverted. I'm extroverted, who initially is very shy. So there's all of it. And now you're trying to make a community out of all these different individuals. We try to come together and be a cohesive community that can do great works outside the walls of this church, and also is willing to transform within. So that the transformation that we bring to the world out there is a result of the transformation that's already happened within. Why is change difficult? It's not for everybody. And you know, it is commonly believed that most people don't want to change, and I don't think that's true. Because, you know, a person in pain, what would they want most? Change. Person in a terrible work condition, what do they want most? Change. What would a slave want? Change. What does an unhappy person want? Change. Change is difficult. Well, sure, it can be, but is that really true? If it's that difficult, somebody should tell what is this called when you dress? Oh gosh, I can't think of the word. Fashion industry. The fashion industry. Somebody should inform the fashion industry that change is very difficult. Fashion industry was created out of a need for change. Constant, not just little change, it's constant change all the time, big changes, small changes, fashion industry. So it's not true that we don't want change. It's also not true that change is necessarily difficult. I think what we don't want is to be duped into a story that this is going to be a change, but it's more of the same. I think that's what we don't want. I think what we don't want is to get our hopes high and then maintain the status quo. I think what we don't want to is to be sold a story that is not true. I think that's what we don't want to. And because we have been sold stories that were not true, we have a hard time trusting that this story, however, this time, is the real story. And that's what's difficult. And I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this because here within this community, we have been making some changes. And then I've been thinking, what sort of changes have we been making, and why have we been making these changes? Okay, let me first tell you the why we are making the changes, why we decided to embrace change. And it's for me. And I know that it's true also for the board, but for me personally, I will speak for me personally. Look, I think the Unitarian Universalists have a very important message. It's a message that is bigger than me. It is bigger than this community. If you bring all UUs together in one room, it's bigger than that room, than all of them, all of us together. We have figured out a way to embrace different spiritual paths within one community. That's crazy. Like, who does that? This is what wars are fought over, that we believe differently, right? And you should believe my way. Wars are fought over this. And we come together and we say, no, that's not important. We're not going to focus on that. It's not just we're not going to focus on that. By the way, I respect your way, and I encourage you, and I empower you to explore your way as it is true for you. So that is a message that's bigger than all of us. That we have found some values that we said that are so important that we can't disagree with. Like, we can try, it's open, you can, it's just, it's difficult. Like, what kind of argument can you come up that trumps that, you know, all forms of life are precious and they're worth protecting, and that we believe in the democratic process. Like, so these values and principles, yes, arguments around it are welcomed within these communities, but it's like hard to disagree that, yeah, it's true. So that's bigger than all UUs put together. So if the message is this good, why wouldn't you want to spread it? So because I happen to believe that this message is so good and it's important, then I want more and more people to be exposed to it. So that means I want to grow this community, and I want to make sure that this message also gets out to the larger community. And of course, I realized, and we as a community realized, that we can't keep doing things the way we've been doing, because then we're already looking at the results. We have to do things differently. So we embraced change. The changes that we embraced, now I told you why. Now, what sort of changes have we embraced? And I realized that there are strategic changes. They are strategic in the sense that we are collecting data differently. We are also sharing data differently. We are partnering with other communities, like-minded communities outside this church, who also are willing to share the programming that we are creating within here. So the changes that we have implemented are strategic. And we have begun to see results. Our programs, our special programming is much better attended than it's ever been in the 7 years that I've been here. So it means that the programs we're putting on are interesting, we're reaching a larger community, and more people respond positively, so they are attending, which is good, it's what we want. But then I realized there is a much bigger part of change that is significantly more important than strategic change, and that is cultural change. Because culture eats strategy for breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Culture is what really, really matters. So you come in a church, you have a favorite seat, you're 5 minutes late, you come and somebody else is in your seat. How do you react to that? That is culture. And it's a person who's never been in this community before, and how dare they? It's culture. There's no name tag on the seat. So the new person has no idea that there are unwritten rules in here. They have no idea that their first action has been a mistake. And you don't say anything, you just really don't say anything. And maybe you give a sideways look. And then it's felt, because we feel things. We pick up on communication, culture, the subculture and subculture, they all matter. And I think we need to look at that as a community. What is our culture here? Now, we all hear that we're very welcoming. I heard that from many of you. I also want you to think, especially those of us who have been here for a long time, is there anything within us that might be less welcoming? What is it? Why is it there? And what can we do about that? We don't want to be that. Culture. How can we also change the culture that it allows for growth, that it allows for exponential growth? And it is not for the sake of growth. It is for the sake of that larger, bigger message that we have. So how can we all come then together? And this is homework for you. Like we often say how welcoming we are, and it's true. And just think about is, where are the ways, where are the places that could use a little tweaking to amp up our culture? Change, we don't have to change. We will anyway. And I'll know this next time I go to the eye doctor. I really didn't want mine to change, but it's changing anyway, whether I like it or not. And I don't, because it's expensive too. And then also for a while I haven't been seeing so well, and I see double all the time. So it's not like it's happening. Change is happening all the time. It's happening in our physical ability. It's happening in every aspect of life. And there's two ways to relationship with change. A, to resist it. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to resist it. Oh, dear God, how much energy it takes. And it's futile, because it's happening anyway. Or we can work on our own selves to embrace it and look forward to it. And then, do not expect perfection. So, here we are as a community. We have embraced some changes. We have implemented changes. And we will make mistakes. We will fail. I promise you. Like even today, when I was thinking about this talk, and I did not include Nikki's way of thinking. I just didn't. It didn't occur to me. Now, it's not against her soul. I did not include that way of thinking because I have it out for Nikki. It's just, I didn't think about it. I didn't think of that option. So that's why I love living in community, because here we can bring all of our ideas together and there's no shame, no guilt, no blame. So I want us to have a culture of no shame, no guilt, no blame. And now think about your own life. If you also had that inner culture, like if I made a mistake, all I do is I acknowledge it, dang it, correct it, and move on. No guilt, no shame, no blame. Within and without. Within and without. So we will make mistakes, and then we will help each other notice it, and then we will help each other correct it. End of story. It's not the story that I should have never tried. That was an idiotic thing to do. See, if you wouldn't have changed things, you wouldn't have made this mistake. That's the guilt, shame, and blame culture. And guilt, shame, and blame kills growth, kills life, kills life. So no guilt, no shame, no blame. So we embrace that. And then I also found that a healthy culture invites all voices. No top-down leadership. And I hope you can agree that that's true for this community. And I personally try to exercise that very consciously. But I think that's true for your board as well. So bring in your ideas all the time. All the time. There's no bad idea here. And then know that if your idea is not being implemented, it's not against your soul. It just didn't fit into the larger picture. But your voice is always welcome. The culture. So I want us to be conscious that strategic change without cultural change is futile. So we must do both. We must chew gum and walk at the same time. And we can, and I hope we will, but we can't if we don't talk about it. We can't if we don't talk about the unwritten rules that are governing this community. And even I don't know all of them. So that's your homework. What are the unwritten rules in this community? And let's write them down. Let's look at them. And maybe there's an expiration date on it. And it was in the past. And then let's let go of it. Change. Nobody wants the promise of change that never comes. And that's why people hate change. So here, in this community, let's make this promise come true. That we're embarking on a new journey, with a new story, with a renewed hope for growth within and without. Because we're all in the service of a much bigger message. And so it is.